Hey y'all, so before I get this video started, let me give a quick shout out. These were the first 3 comments in my last video. If you want to be featured in my next video, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell and come show me some love when I drop a new video. What's up you guys, it's KeAmber Vaughn aka Coach Key coming back to you with another video. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you're not new, welcome back. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also tap the bell so that you are notified of every new video that I post. So today's video, I'm going to be doing my June budget. My June budget actually just started on June 4th, and so I wanted to do my budget a little bit different than my usual of you guys seeing me do everything and talk everything out by going through the budget planner. I'm actually just going to talk everything out in this video. However, don't click off because you will still be seeing screenshots of my planner as I'm talking about different things. The reason why I wanted to do it this way is because unlike typically and unlike the usual, I'm actually doing budgeting a lot different now. Starting in May, I decided to do my budgeting a little bit different. It's still kind of the same, but a little bit different because I did hit my savings goal. So because of that, and I'll explain exactly what I'm doing now, but because of me hitting my savings goal, I'm budgeting a little bit different. So in the month of May, I still did all of my allocations the same way. It's just what I did with the savings was a lot different. Whereas this month, I'm actually not going to allocate anything off the top. I'm going to wait until the end of the month, and whatever is left over in my account in excess of $4,000, that's going to be sent away. But again, I'll explain in a future video exactly how that money is going to be used and everything like that. So when it comes to me doing my budget, I always kind of pre-plan on a sheet of paper. My budget just started on Friday. Today is Tuesday. So typically like the day before my budget starts, I kind of pre-plan and I kind of try to finalize as much as I possibly can. That way, by the time the new budget starts, unless I have to have like a YouTube video out before then, like where I don't have an extra couple of days to think about it. But that way, by the time my budget starts, I have everything finalized. Sometimes like this month, I don't actually finalize things until days into the month actually starts, but this month it was actually for a good reason. I was kind of toying between different things and what I wanted to do this month. So when I do this little sheet of paper, one of the first things I do is I write down, of course, what dates this month's budget will go. You guys know I like to start a budget with a paycheck, and the following month, I don't start that month until a paycheck happens within that calendar month. So this month's budget will be from June 4th to July 1st. The next thing I like to do is I like to write down different things that I need to remember that's going to cost me money. So the first thing that I had to remember was that I had 2 little cousins who just graduated from high school. I wanted to give them $20 each in, you know, little graduation cards. And then also my own birthday is this month, and I originally set aside $40 because I was thinking about doing a certain thing, but I'll get into that when we get into the variable expenses, because once I realized what I actually wanted to do, it made one of my expense categories shoot up, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So after that, I went ahead and I calculated what my projected income would be. Now, you guys know that I get paid every single week. I am a psych nurse and I work through an agency that actually pays me every single week. So typically when I work my usual 2 shifts every single week, I bring home $732, $44, $94 every single week after taxes. However, the week that I went out of town, I did celebrate my 3rd year of being debt-free with a 6-day vacation in Las Vegas. If you guys want to see the vlog, let me know. I did get some footage, but because of that, we went from Monday to Saturday. It was me, my mom, and my sister. So the only day that I could work that week was Sunday. So originally I was toying. I was like, do I really want to work? I kind of don't want to get off work and only have a couple of hours to get on a plane, but I really didn't want to not have a paycheck at all for that week. So I went ahead and I worked that Sunday night. So that way I could at least have half of my paycheck, considering I only work 2 nights a week. So because of that, one week, instead of the $723.94, my actual paycheck was $386.37 because again, I only worked half of that week. So what I did was I took that amount Then I took the $723.94, that's like my base pay, and I multiplied that by the last 3 weeks. Sometimes I do end up staying a little bit over, you know, instead of me getting out at 7:30 in the morning, I stay at 7:45, or I stay till 8 o'clock. There are other times where I add a whole 4-hour shift into that week. I don't ever work more than, 28 hours a week. However, this time I just like to project the baseline, the bare minimum of me working 2 shifts a week. So after I go ahead and I include those 3 weeks, my income comes out to be $2,558.19. The only other income that I have to include is YouTube, because YouTube is paid out in my personal name, not any of my LLCs. So my YouTube income for last month, because I barely did anything, was $167.94. Of that, I always like to take 20% out in taxes. Even though I have thousands of dollars in 2 different tax accounts, at the end of the day, I still like to take 20%, because as somebody who has had a large tax bill before, listen, I don't want to have to deal with that again. So I continue to save 20%, even if it's only a couple of dollars. There's been times where 20%, you know, was of some really small Amazon check and it was only maybe like $2. I don't care. I send 20% off. So after I take the 20%, which is $33.58 out of that YouTube check, that ends up being a net profit of $134.36. What I did was I added that to what I had already projected as far as income from my job. So that gives me a total income of $2,692.55. So that is how I calculated my income. The next part that I like to do is I like to calculate what my fixed expenses are. I'm somebody who, listen, as long as my bills are paid, I don't have no late payments on my credit, I'm not damaging my credit, listen, I can figure out how I need to eat and get gas and everything like that. So as far as my fixed expenses, if you're new here, my expenses are extremely low. I have been debt free for 3 years now, and I voluntarily live with my mother and my sister, and we live in a low cost of living city, so it's very easy for rent to be low. So I do pay my mom rent to live here, and then I have dental insurance for $9.54. I have health insurance for $232.11, and then I also have car insurance for $62.49. People have asked me how my car insurance is low. It's because since I'm in a house with my mom, I put myself on her insurance because it was way cheaper. Most of the other companies were trying to charge me like $190 a month, and that was a no for me. So after I figure out all of my fixed expenses, I did not have any annual expenses or quarterly expenses for this particular month. I went ahead and I added everything up, and that came out to be $604.14, which is usually what my fixed expense amount is. So moving on to the variable expense category. So when it comes to my variable expense categories, sometimes I like to try to compare like how did I do in the previous month in that expense category? Is it something where like, okay, there were just these weird charges or weird expenses, weird things that happened that made my expense category be over budget? Or was I severely under budget and I need to kind of possibly reduce the amount that I'm setting aside for that particular category? So last month for groceries, I budgeted $300 because I knew we were going to be gone for 6 days in Vegas. So I only needed to budget for 3 weeks. And even still, I had $134.24 left over. So I basically took that and said, you know what? I don't need $100 a week. Let's just do $350 and I should be good for the entire month for groceries. The next category is personal household, and I did $125 for that. That's the same amount that I put last month. And last month I still had $92.21 left over. However, I thought I was running out of more of my cleansers and my serums and stuff for my face. And I thought there was a couple of other things that I was gonna have to buy that I didn't. So I went ahead and I kept $125 in this category because if I didn't re-up last month, I'm definitely gonna have to this month. The next category is restaurants. I put $125 versus the $75 from last month. Again, last month was because I knew I would be gone for a week. So for restaurants, I'm just gonna keep that at $125. That's usually my baseline for that particular category. I used to do $25 a week, but you know, the price of stuff is going up, so $125 for the month. So gas, I went ahead and I put 100. I did the same thing for last month, and last month I only actually filled up one time. So I still have almost $55 left in that category. With the new budget starting about, what, 4 days ago? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, about 4 days ago. I still have half a tank left. I did get a car wash, which usually my car washes come out of that particular category. So I did go ahead and do $100 just in case I'm gonna need to fill up 2 times. The next category, when I pre-budgeted and pre-planned, I only had $125 in the shopping category. However, what I decided that I wanted to do for my birthday, usually like I will do like a crab boil with just me, my mom, and my sister. Sometimes we invite my mom, sister, my aunt, or my grandma. But this time I actually wanted to invite a couple of more of my family members who I am the closest with, and especially one of my cousins, because she's been mad every time we post about it. She's so mad because I've been needing to actually teach her how to do it. But because it's gonna be like 9 of us, and I'm probably gonna end up doing like 30 pounds of crab, probably like 10 pounds of shrimp, and we're gonna do turkey sausage, corn, and potatoes, like the little mini potatoes. I don't want to slave over the stovetop with a bunch of different pots trying to cook 30 pounds of crab legs. I just don't. So I think like a month or 2 ago, one of my cousins had posted on Facebook how she had bought this 80 quart, I guess it's called a boiler. And she bought it from Home Depot. So I looked into it, and it's $226 plus I'm sure tax. So I decided, you know what, in order for me to be able to properly celebrate my birthday and not be slaving over the countertop trying to, you know, get all of this stuff in here, because when I cook 10 pounds of crab legs, I have to do a couple of batches, you know, so just imagine that times 3. I don't feel like doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and purchase that, and then more than likely I also have to get the propane tank, which is probably gonna be like another $40 or so. So I went ahead and I put $300 off to the side for that, plus just a regular $100 for any shopping things like clothes and stuff like that. Next up is miscellaneous. So this is a really weird number. So I originally pre-planned $150 because the money that I set aside for my cousins for graduation, that comes out of miscellaneous. Anytime I do something like at the end of last month, my grandma wanted the triple head toothbrush that I use. And so I took the $30 out of the miscellaneous. That's usually what I end up taking out of miscellaneous. If I go to a restaurant and my mom wants something or my sister wants something and I pay for it, I take their portion out of the miscellaneous category. So this time I did $152.54. The reason why the $2.54 is on there is because when I was in Vegas, I forgot one of my debit cards, so I had to use a different one. And of course, you know, the ATM fees and stuff, I thought I was only going to be assessed 1 fee, but I was assessed 2. So I want to pay my $2.50 back into that account from this one. And then also somehow, some way, I hate when Amazon does this. Like when I ordered something on Amazon at the end of the month, it said it was $19.19. But then by the time everything closed out, after I had already closed my entire budget out, like I did everything to close my budget out, ended up being $19.23. So I'm gonna go ahead and on the first week's worth of expenses, when I pay that credit card off, I'm just gonna take that extra 4 cents out of this category to pay that, and then I'm gonna send that $2.50, Zelle it to the account that the fee got assessed from, and that's it. So basically it's really $150, but $2.54 is a rollover from last month's expenses because it didn't end up closing out the way that I thought it was going to after I had already closed my budget out on paper. Last 2 categories. The first one is supplements. So I put $70 here. I do end up, I think the hormonal supplement was actually non-hormonal, but it helps with your hormones. That comes out every single month. And then because I don't need my probiotic because it's every 60 days, I will need some of my supplement powders that I use in my smoothies. So I went ahead and I added all of that up. And then the last category is business, which is $100. And of that, I've already spent, I think, almost 15 on a book that I need. So with that, the total total amount that I will need for my variable expenses or my spending category is $1,422.54. That ends up being about, I believe, like 68% of my net income, which my net income is how much money I have left over after paying my bills. So with that, what I am projecting is that my savings category, which really isn't even savings, but again, I'll explain that in a future video. I'm projecting that I'll have $626 about to send off into that little category, plus the $33.58 that I set aside for taxes. So right now I'm gonna put on the screen my paycheck to paycheck budget so you guys can see this. So the first week, which is June 4th through the 10th, this one right here, you guys are going to see the budget listed twice, and that's because I realized, like, originally I took the $1,422 that I have, or the $1,420 that I have for the entire amount for the budget for the month, and I just divided it by 4 so that it would equally go between the 4 weeks. However, that was not correct, because technically I know that I need $300 of that for this week, just particularly for the crab boil, the big 80 quart thing. And then I also need the 280 that is remaining for me to have each week. So that is why you guys see those two different numbers right there. It basically ends up being the 280 plus like, what is it, like $300.54 or $302.54 or something like that. So this particular week, you guys can see that I am negative $271.17. I'm not worried about it. Why? Because you guys know that I start off with a buffer of $4,000 in my checking account. So at the end of every month, I reconcile my account down. Whatever is in excess of $4,000, I send it off to savings or wherever I send it. So that means that this budget, I'm already starting off with $4,000. So even though I'm negative, and if I actually spend my money this exact way, it's just gonna eat into that $4,000 a little bit, but it'll end up evening itself back out. What I could do is I could just end up spending money on the 40 quart boiler the following week, but I don't want to do that because when I looked on Home Depot, it seems like it's going to take about a week to get to me, and I don't want it to not come on time. So my rent, I always split that up equally every single week. I just send $75 off to savings, and then on the first I withdraw it and I pay my mom for that. So the second week, you guys can see that I am positive $368.94. Week 3, I'm positive $440.81. That is when my car insurance comes out, along with the usuals, the rent and the budget. And then the last week, not only do I have rent and health insurance and dental insurance, and then we have the budget as well. So when you look at the very bottom, as far as like how much money I'm gonna have left over, I went ahead and I wrote those in at that time. However, at the time, I forgot to write in the budget for week 4, and that is why you guys see at the bottom where it says $945.87. I took $280 out of that because at the time, again, I forgot to write that into week 4, so I didn't take that out of the week 4 amount of $407.29. So that leaves me with about $665.87 that will be sent off to savings, or how I end up doing my budgeting now. So that is my June budget. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to leave them down below. My goal is for my next video to tell you guys about my savings goal that I hit, how much money I had in each account to hit that goal, and how that affected the way that I am budgeting now and what you guys are seeing now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, but other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.